Welcome back to the plot, everyone. It's the 5th of November today, and it's the first Saturday of the month, which means we can have our fire here at the allotment. So I've brought some kindling up and some firelighters, now a few lumps of coal, and then what I'll do is I'll get a good fire going in the brazier, in the incinerator first, before I start putting things in it, because it's been raining all night and everything's damp. But I'll give you a quick look around and show you the state of the plot as it is at the moment. Okay, this is the bed that used to have the potatoes in it. I've dug this all over and I've covered it over for the winter, stop the weeds. This bed here is going to get weeded today, and I am going to be putting the broad beans in. These are the broad beans that have been growing at home in the root trainers, and they're about 6-7 inches now, 8 inches. So these are big enough to go in now. So what I'll do is I'll empty that bed. I'll leave the spring onions in at the minute, then get the broad beans in there. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some fleece, put some poles in, and put some fleece all around the beans to give them a bit of protection. This bean bed weeded and covered over for the winter. I've got all my bundles of canes there. This will need weeded again. I've weeded up round the top where I had the squashes and the potatoes, so that's all cleared now. The ochres had a weeding as well, so I can actually see what's what in there now. This will be going on the fire once I get it going. And in here I've cleared out all the tomatoes. I've got some wood that's been drying out for, well, about 24 hours. So I'm hoping it's going to be dry enough to burn. I've got a couple of pepper plants, which I'm going to pick the peppers today and see if I can prune these back to overwinter them. And I've also put the potato pots in here. These are the Christmas potatoes. They're not looking that great at the minute. It must have got really cold during the week, and the foliage got damaged because of the cold. So I've put them in here. Hopefully it'll be warm enough in the evening, and hopefully they'll get enough sunlight. Fingers crossed we might get something. But that's it. Leeks and garlic are doing okay. Rhubarb's on the way out. Raspberries, I'll cut them down in the new year. At the minute they're providing nice ground cover, so there's not so much weeds. Once all the leaves are falling off, I'll cut the canes back. And these two beds, I'll just leave these alone. I will be taking some beetroot, some carrots out today to take home for dinner. But first things first, get to the incinerator and get a fire going. Okay, so it's been raining all day and we've now got a break in the weather. So I'm going to try and get this fire started. I've got some dry kindling and some firelighters. I did have some cardboard in the incinerator, but it's got a little bit damp with all the rain we've had. But I'm going to try and use it anyways. It'll burn eventually once we get the heat hot enough in there. So I'm putting in some dry kindling at the moment. This is just a bag of sticks that I got from the supermarket. Now these are firelighters, which are like a paraffin wax that burns very easily. You just put a match to it and they'll burn away. So I'm breaking them up, putting them all over the wood kindling. Now I've got some lumps of coal here. The reason I'm using lumps of coal is because I want to get really hot temperature in the fire, because all the wood we've got is all damp. So the wood won't burn normally, but if we get a hot enough temperature in there with using the coal, then we will get the wood to burn. So lighting the firelighters, and they'll set fire to the kindling, and before too long we should have a decent enough fire. So I'm going to stick the broad beans into this bed. I'm going to use this scaffolding pole as a guide to get straight lines. Basically what I want to do is have 2 rows of broad beans separated by about 7 or 8 inches. And I want to have a wider gap before I put my next 2 rows in. The reason for having the wider gap is so that I've got enough space to get in behind to harvest the beans. So the soil is really thick and heavy today because of all the rain we've had. So I'm going to try and get these in. Now I'm actually presenting these to the other camera, But what I haven't noticed is that I haven't switched the on button on the other camera. So I'm trying to show the way the roots grow down the root trainers vertically and out the bottom. And these beans have only been in these root trainers 3 weeks at the most. They grow really, really fast, beans, and this is one of the best ways I've known for growing them, is in the root trainers. The other advantage of using the root trainer is that the mice, the plant's fully formed before the mice can have a chance to come in and steal the beans. Sometimes if you put the beans straight in the ground, the mice will come and have them. But this way we've got fully formed plants that we're putting in the ground, and I don't think the mice are going to be bothered anymore with them. So I'm putting them about the length of a trowel between them, which is about 6 inches. And I'll also be putting 6 inches to 8 inches between the rows. So I'm just trying to get them straight, purely because it looks nice and makes it easier to harvest and things like that. So these will all be going in, and what I'm doing is I'm firmly firming down the soil around the plant to stop any movement in the wind. Just checking on my gaps again. But yeah, if you firm them down, then there's less chance of them moving around in the wind. I'm also going to put a barrier, not a barrier, well I suppose it is a barrier. I'm going to put some fleece around this bed to protect these broad beans from the wind, because in the past when we've had strong winds, the beans have got destroyed because the winds have just hammered them basically. But if I can give them a chance to grow a bit, and for the stems to thicken up and for the plants to harden up a bit, then that'll be really good. So I think I'm getting about eight beans in a row, and I think I've got about 38 in total. Okay, now that I've spotted that the camera wasn't switched on, I've now got it switched on so you can see things in a little closer. You can see the root trainers a bit more in detail. They're actually called books because of the way they open up, sort of like books shaped, and you can see the grooves on the root trainers, which actually forces the roots to grow down the way and out the bottom of the root trainers. And this gives the plant a very good, strong root base very quickly in its life. I'm just positioning the pipe to put in the second row here, and this row will be about the length of the trowel that I'm using from the first row, so probably about 8 inches at the most. I mean, these plants will be quite big once they're grown, so they need a little bit of space to grow, and so they're not all grown on top of each other. But yeah, it's only taken about 3 weeks for them to grow from the bean to this size, which is quite good. Although it has been very mild lately, the weather's been quite warm and unusually mild for this time of the year. I mean, it is the 5th of November, and it's only recently that I've started to wear a fleece out in the allotment. But this is the second row. I think in total I've got 38 beans to go in. Although I've actually damaged one getting it out the root trainer. But even though it's damaged, I'll still put it in the ground, and hopefully, because we've got good roots and a bean still there, it will form another shoot from the bean and everything will be okay. There's no harm in trying these things. But burying the roots about 4 inches deep and firming them in quite well into the soil to stop any movement from the wind, even though I'm going to put a fleece around to protect them. I really don't want them getting moved around by the wind too much, as that's how they're easily damaged. Okay, let me just show you what I've been doing here. I've put this fleece around to hopefully prevent any wind damage to these seedlings before they establish themselves. This one here lying down, the stem actually got cut as I was taking it out the root trainer. So I have planted it because there's still the bean there and a load of roots coming out the bean. So I'm hoping that it's going to send out another shoot. So we'll wait and see what happens. The only thing left I've got to do with this is I'm just going to peg it down a little bit so they give it a bit more chance than just these little clips I've got on it. So I'll go around and I'll peg that down. I won't film that because it's nothing really to see. I want to get a couple of carrots out for dinner tonight, so let's have a look. Oh well, that one's not going to feed the both of us. I thought it was quite good too, but let's have a look at this one here. And again, that's a short one. Okay, I'm not doing too well here. Another stumpy one. Slightly better. I wonder if these are... This is a variety for these carrots. Try this one. Okay, I think all in there might be enough carrots for us to have for dinner. I also need some spring onions. I'm not allowed to leave the site with this still going, so before I go, what I'll do is I'll get some water in the watering can and give it a good soak. But I want to get all these on it before I go. This was the back of my compost bin at the top. Up there you can just see the white front of it. But there was a door at the back that I was using in the back of it, and it's eventually rotted down. It was a door that was on the site when I actually took the plot on. I'm going to get something to get these out because they're quite tight. I don't want to split, end up with a handful of green leaves and the white part in the ground. Oh, there it is. This should do the trick. Decent sized spring onion. Take this one out as well. That should do us. And the last thing I need, well, the last thing I'm going to take is some beetroot. There you go, that's a nice collection of multicoloured beetroots, oranges, reds and whites. Have I missed any? No. Well, I can feel the rain coming back on again, which is annoying. And my carrots. Of course, as usual, the bunnies will get the green top parts. They don't get they don't get a lot of the orange part because there's so much sugar in it. It sort of upsets their stomach a little bit and they end up having soft poops. So yeah, not a bad collection for today. Well, the rain's getting a lot heavier now, so I'm hiding in my shed at the minute. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the fire out and I'm going to head home. I'm going to take my spring onions, my carrots and my beetroots and head home. So thank you all for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please feel free to subscribe if you want or leave a comment, and I'll see you next time here on YouTube. Bye for now.